LGBT plus History Month is a really great opportunity for businesses to stop for a moment and reflect on our wider histories. But actually, more than thinking about those histories, I think it's a moment to reflect on their employees.
Do you believe queer history is given the respect it deserves in the UK? And if not, what more needs to be done?
There's an increasing interest in queer history in the UK. And I recall in 2017, with the 50th anniversary of the partial decriminalization of homosexual acts between men, that a lot of cultural organizations, heritage organizations, just government departments, everybody was waving the banner and doing their bit for queer history or LGBTQ inclusion. And I think there was a great fear that after 2017, that would all just collapse. And of course, it drew back, and there's other anniversaries for other groups and other issues that are being celebrated. But I've been quite pleased that as much as we're not at that point that we were in 2017, we're still seeing a lot of interest being maintained in LGBTQ plus histories. There's great work being done by LGBTQ History Month, and they've been expanding enormously to include all kinds of groups. But there's much more that can be done, and I think as much as that interest is compelling more work to go forward, there's more that needs to be done in schools. England, for instance, does not yet require LGBTQ history in schools. That has been done in some places in the States and in Scotland, but England has not yet done that. So I think there's a lot more work to be done there. And so many teachers that I speak to are really hungry and eager to do so, but we need policy to require that. Businesses themselves have approached me to speak about LGBTQ history, and their employees are really interested to learn both about their own histories, if they identify as queer or LGBT, but even if they don't, they're interested in learning more about the histories that are associated with their friends and colleagues and family members.
Can you describe your research into homosexuality and capitalism and some of your most poignant findings?
Well, my research focuses on a kind of prehistory of the pink pound, because I think most of us, even queer people, assume that business hasn't been particularly interested in us, or that we haven't been engaged with it until, say, the 80s and 90s, maybe the 70s, post-gay liberation, if we're lucky. My research shows, in fact, that there's more than 100 years of engagement between business enterprise and queerness, but in multiple ways. So this prehistory of the pink pound really explodes the idea that it's only about business trying to profit from our spending power, or us using that spending power politically to support or boycott certain businesses. And in fact, there's lots of ways that queerness, homosexuality has been profitable for businesses for more than a century. And that can include selling particular ideas of homosexuality to wider audiences, or even profiting off the idea of homophobia. So I think once we start thinking more expansively and more broadly about what this can include, it just expands astronomically the kinds of histories that we can explore that are relevant to these questions.
Can you define the pink pound and its impact on British history?
Well, I'm spending a whole book trying to do that. So defining the pink pound is a challenging ask, and it is more than just the economic power of gay men and lesbians. It is interest in homosexuality and queerness by business enterprise, the profitability of that. It can be supportive, it can be progressive, it can be homophobic, it can be problematic. It can also be our power to use our spending choices to demonstrate support, or to show businesses that we're not happy with their actions and that they can do better. I think it's a whole web of relationships, actually, between consumers and producers that are going in multiple directions, and always being negotiated and renegotiated. And it's more than just buying gay products, because LGBTQ people do more than just buy fancy same-sex holidays and gay magazines. I mean, I think it's really interesting to think about how, gosh, we probably spend more on toilet paper and antihistamines than we do on supposedly gay products as a larger group. And of course, there's also the question who fits within this group of LGBTQ consumers. There are those like myself who are out, but other people who are not, but are still involved in economic relationships, or people that have fluid sexualities and gender identities. We have to be careful about too narrowly putting people into boxes. But nonetheless, there is an incredible range of people who are engaging in economic relationships and who fit within this wider queer LGBTQ plus umbrella.
This LGBT History Month, how can businesses authentically recognize the importance of the awareness events?
LGBT plus History Month is a really great opportunity for businesses to stop for a moment and reflect on our wider histories. But actually, more than thinking about those histories, I think it's a moment to reflect on their employees, many of whom will be LGBTQ plus. And I think more than just thinking authentically about history and including discussions and workshops and whatnot, I think they really need to take this moment to reflect on their business policies regarding their employees and how they can support their employees all the rest of the entire year and not just in February.